And yeah, I always tell people I got a wild card. I don't play poker, but I got Latasha. Yeah, listen, you look, it's like popcorn. When it gets hot in here, them seeds pop. So it's so cool. No, we have a good time in here, and but we be for real, for real. And as we've been talking, I think it's very important. I think it's hugely important that people begin to understand not everybody has that I'm in love with the candidate. There are a lot of different reasons they're voting. And by the way, some of the candidates they don't need to be in love with. If we look at what we've gotten from all the different candidates we put in office, we haven't gotten a great return. And like a bushel of apple, it ain't too sweet. Can't make no pie. What you gonna use it for? Get rid of them. Get you some good apple. Anyway, no disrespect meant.
I have a question that I will ask you, Ms. Rachel, because you seem very just politically engaged, and this is a problem that I think until we have an answer for. What I was hearing when you were talking about why you voted for Obama, right? What people were playing as, oh, people voted for him because he's black. It wasn't because he was black. To me, it was because of the bigger thing that he represented, right? Obama was hope. It was that, okay, this may be a new turn for our government, right? And I think the reason why Trump got put in is because Trump represented white scarcity. They said, whoa, there's a lot of change happening. I don't know if it's gonna be enough for all of us. And Trump represented that. Everything they were feeling, everything they wouldn't say in the board meetings, they was holding their tongue, all that stuff they didn't like. People don't like DEI. A lot of people don't like DEI. They feel like that's just a waste of time. I don't want to be right to you. And so he represented that. And they were like, let's put him in there. My question to you would be, if we want young people and even older generations to vote, we don't just want them to vote. We want voters who are self-motivated to vote, because we want this to happen every year, right? Local, national, all levels. If Hope united us for Obama and White Fear united them for Trump, what unites us as voters, and what does Kamala represent that would make someone want to vote for her?
Okay, so me personally, what I think would unite us, like I said earlier, right now, is to put God back in his place. Put him back in your individual personal lives and put him back in his house. And by that, I mean, put him back in the church. We need to come together more and pray more than to just come together and sing and be entertained. We need to, because my dad was a minister, so that's all I can see it is through the eyes of God. I'm encouraged by a scripture that says, he who considers the poor lends to the Lord. The key word in there is consider and the word lend. Consider simply means you just gave thought to the poor. You just recognize them. If I make this decision, how will this affect them, and will this affect them negatively or positively? And when you lend to the Lord, unlike man, God lends back. He repays. So that motivates me to do extra. As far as voting and what would unite people, we may not be able to change the world, but you can change someone's world. So between prayer and keeping hope, far as remembering some of the things I brought up. Young people do fight and work and they are doing great things. Black people have been staying at the mill to do great things when they're telling us we're not doing nothing. We got a black president in office. Then we had Biden who picked a black woman for she's running. Those are points to me, for lack of a better word, stepping stones, I guess. I don't know what word I want to use. Those are examples to me that our votes did work, that it got us to those points. And the fact that, again, Trump got put in and doing what he's doing shows the power of our votes. They're afraid of us. If y'all remember back in the 90s, well, we would remember that. In the 90s, talk shows used to touch on this kind of stuff. Now they dumb down the talk shows with just who's your baby's daddy and did you cheat on me topics. They used to talk, they had Farrakhan on Donahue years ago. That's unheard of today. They dumbed down demonized rap music, and then they got gatekeepers making rap only push out violent rap to demonize the art of what rap was, rhythm and poetry. So on every level where we are trying to excel, they're going to try to pull out. We have to remember those pieces and how we got there, and that there is hope, and we have to just keep fighting. They're going to fight as long as they see us fighting, and they're waiting for us to tire out. But we're a resilient people. We got through slavery. We're not going to tire out. I hope that answered the question. Like my mind is going a mile a minute. But number one, God, as far as unity, look back at the things we did have victory in, because those are not to be taken lightly. And for Kamala, with I'm sorry, this is going to sound cheap, but she's black and she's a black female. We don't have a lot of women succeeding on certain levels, and that's another stepping stone. That'll be a good example for our young girls, and then our young boys, our young up and coming gentlemen. She smiles a lot, she laughs a lot, she trying to unify people. When she talks, it's not them and us, she's talking about all of us, where Trump uses kind of divided language. She's trying to, like, she doesn't even badmouth Trump like he does her. I mean, that's decorum. That says a lot about her character. Those are things I look at.
And I think a lot of other people look at, one of the things that about this discussion that has my mind thinking about is that sometimes when we talk about things like that, it's like far off. But then looking at what's the problem? The problem to me is we're not really organized in our community in the strongest way to make our voices and the impact of our votes matter. That's what we're trying to do, still trying to get organized. And we got so many different levels. Those who have the level of a level where they're looking at certain things, and all of us need to understand what are the positions that people are representing. The position, if we believe and stand on the positions that they stand on, that in the positions hopefully will be ours, then we shouldn't have a problem in deciding who we need to go with. We done got caught up in this kind of music-like state with elections where all of a sudden you hear, oh, did you see that? Oh, it's a drama. No, it's a love story. What the heck is it? It's a mystery. But the reality is that we need to understand, as you say, everybody needs to have a faith walk in their life. And I think we have to somehow allow God to be God in a private space of our life and not in our political participation sometimes, because who do you decide is the one that's with God? Because you got on the other side, they're hollering God too. Meanwhile, God hadn't said nothing. People like to say, God made this way for me. Well, those who put you, God made the way for them too. You think? Or not? I'm just saying, everybody put God in there, and God ain't even in it. He has ordained government. Government had people that formed government had the right to choose who their leader's going to be. He didn't reach down and say, I want you to be a leader and you to be a leader. So I think politicians and I think people need to get away from saying, well, God did this for me. Give him the glory, but don't act like he done did something special for you. So, because that's counter to making it seem like, oh, well, I don't have to do nothing because God's going to fix it. That excuse, I say people have to grow beyond that. And I think politicians need to stop using that. That's sort of like the ace in the hole when people talk to you and they like folks that say, well, God told me to tell you. What you going to say to them?
They have definitely perverted the word and misused God for their own gain. And it's nothing that's going to be put under the rug. God sees it.
No, God playing football right now. Oh, no, he on the basketball court. Right. I'm just saying, I understand. Thank you, Lord, giving him the glory. But, in politics, it gets so tricky. And that is where the naive gets tricked. Because we all in this thing that we got to get right and we got to be in churches. And some of these churches ain't too churchy.
No, exactly. And that's why I say in our personal lives, because the Bible says there's wickedness in high places. Certain things only God can change from the top down. We can do what we can on our level. And then you do what you do. And then after that, you let go and let God. The stuff that you can't do, that's God saying, okay, that's my job. Let me handle that. But as individuals, I still say we're powerful in that sector. as well as voting and going out. It also says faith without works dead. You can't just have faith and pray and not work. God already said, I got your prayers. Now I need you to do the work. I need you to do this. So we definitely have a responsibility. And I feel the responsibility a lot of us did take was swept under the rug or ignored, because again, in our race, we always hear people say, man, black folk don't help each other. Black folk always want this, and black folk, and it's like, where is this coming from? That's not true. You have good and bad in all races. You have workers and you got lazy people in all races. But don't broad brush the whole race over a few people and then have the rest of the world believing we're not people that's trying to do something.
Well, we got another call, and we're going to go right to the air. Caller, you on the air. Welcome.
Yes, beautiful show. I'm loving the communication, especially the different generations. With your generation, Jim, you have another generation, and you have the generation of the co-host. I think it's good to hear the different points of view and actually coming into this communication. I just wanted to announce that there's going to be a Souls to the Pole motorcade Sunday, October 27th. We're going to line up at 1 and leave it at 1:30 right in front of WFO. And we're going to be having a corridor, Souls to the Polls, so people can come in after church. We're going to drive to one of the sites where early voting. It'll be the second day of early voting. And one thing I just like to add on my own is I personally think that we should probably be mindful of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and those generations that have come before us. And I believe that the greatest present that we could probably present in honor of Dr. King is having a black woman becoming the president of the United States, and having Hakeem Jeffries becoming the Speaker of the House, and securing a Senate so that good black and white people can make a new America, and we can challenge the ability to be right. There is not going to be room for any involvement if the other party is elected, because they already told you what the plan is. So for those who are thinking about everyday people, for those who are making a way for young men and women and trying to include the next generation, I think that that's safer for us to have options and to be inclusive, because we're all here together.
Well said, brother. I mean, that's really what it's about. The need for us to focus. We're about to knock open a door, and the only way it's going to open is us doing it together and being clear-minded about, look, Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, deserves to be elected. Look, she doesn't have to be right on everything now, but she's right on a major amount of things, such as that are dealing with social justice around housing, around economics, around employment, around healthcare, around education. That's good. And we want to get her stronger on the foreign policies, because we cannot allow other humans like us to be destroyed with weapons made by us. And so I'm just saying, even while that is happening, it's going to end. But know that we need to understand this moment. There is no other person to be casting your vote for. And so please don't be foolish in this moment. Don't be cock-a-doodle-doo because you want to show you what. Don't be like that. What Brother Jomo just shared, here's an opportunity.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Jomo.
Brother Jim, I think that one of the most important things also is, as we'll have talked about it later, but even as Black Buffalo, where do we go from here? Chaos or community? And we need to include young people, because the young people are going to inherit this. So they have to be at the table now.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like I appreciate you for sharing that, because that is so true. When we talk about like historical figures like X or MLK, it does kind of highlight the importance for the generations, right? Because in order for us to really make good on those things, we have to be educated on them, on the truth of them, right? Because I went to school, I learned about MLK, and you would have thought it was literally only the "I have a dream" speech. And they never mentioned white moderates. They never mentioned. When we learned about Malcolm X, we learned he was the anti-MLK. We never learned about the ballot versus the bullet. We never learned about his conversion, the end of his life, none of that. So I'm saying that to say, I think that comes down to, again, where the generations kind of have to play their strengths. I think that if we're going to say that hope becomes, or past records becomes our uniting factor, then we really need to all be briefed and really all aware on these past records. In my opinion, it creates a difficult scenario where the average person is not motivated by desire, they're motivated by pain, meaning the average person in their life is running from pain, not towards
There you
pleasure.
go.
They're just trying to stay above the current. And so to that point, I think that we just have to really think about, again, even what unites us more than even just being Black. I know you said the word resilient. I was talking about this with my dad. I don't really like the word resilient. Resilient to me is something I'm really good at getting beat up on. I ain't trying to be a punching bag. I think we have to find a new word that's not based in history. What unites us moving forward? Because though history is a track record, when history becomes our track record, slavery was history. So we would clearly, that's not the best track record. We need something new moving forward. The word I use is creativity. I always say that I'm not going to need because I can create. That's the phrase that I use for myself and my people. But we need to figure out what is the phrase that we can all get behind, because Kamala is for this year, and God willing, she wins this year and next year, then we still need somebody else. And so we're still going to need to answer this question as to what unites us deeper than just Black people. The church used to be where that was. We used to all go to church. We don't do that no more. And so if it is going to be the church, how can we bring the church, not change it, but bring it back to what it was, which is what you said. I'm here to be a light, not a judge. I'm here to be a shepherd, not the executioner or the butcher. Can we bring church back to that? And if we can't, where else can we go that all Black people can come together to get on one accord? Because until we can figure out what unites us and where we go to be united, we're always going to be having these fragmented conversations. There's always going to be some of us. There's always going to be some of them. But until we come together and say this is us together, average person cannot answer that question for what unites us. So when I ask them, why should I vote? They give me all the reasons why they think I should vote. Like you said, they'll tell me history, but you don't have no reason for why me currently I should vote. Because the history, again, if I don't know it, doesn't mean it. Then it's not useful. It's only useful if we know it. So then are we then going to say we're going to charge ourselves to go rush the schools and say we need to make sure that this is being taught in the schools? We have to figure out what unites us deeper than just this moment, deeper than just what it was, deeper than just what we think it should be. We need to go out and truly ask ourselves what brings us on one accord so we can move as one, because that's why we're losing. We're all fighting battles, but you're never going to get as far fighting with half your team here, half your team there. Divide and conquer what we need to be doing here. We need to unite and destroy. We need to unite and destroy ignorance, unite and destroy intolerance. And so I just think we need to really spend more time asking ourselves, like you said, if we're going to say it's the church, do we have church people, do we have GM members that have the skills to meet people where they're at? Because what I see, turn around, boy, your pants sagging. Great. Well, now it doesn't become a place of unification. Turn around, boy. This ain't what we do in church. Well, now it doesn't become you're not meeting me where I'm at. We not all gonna feel comfortable going here. I don't think church is bad. I think that we gotta just. A lot of people I've heard they don't go to church. They don't want to be judged, and that's not even our job anyway. So I just think it has to be some different conversations. That's from the young perspective. A lot of young people do not feel comfortable, do not feel connected to their race because, like you said, it feels like they already think I'm one of those young dudes. Yeah. I'm one of those young dudes with a gun. Man, the average young dude, I ain't strapped up. I'm looking for friends. The reason I look scary, the reason I got this resting face on is because the world has shown me that it's more enemies than friends, and a lot of wolves are hiding in sheep clothing. But the average young person, once we recognize you're a friend, man, I need as many friends as possible. So either you're friend or enemy. Let me know you friend, and I'm gonna treat you as such. But when you approaching us like we your enemy, you're gonna get some solid face, straight face young men. So I just think we gotta have some different conversations. But I'm hopeful. I am hopeful.
Earlier I mentioned that black on black crime does not exist. When you mentioned about what can unite us and what can we have in common, knowledge is power. And a lot of people are ignorant on the black on black crime thing. First of all, that doesn't exist. It's the demographics you live in. So if you live in a black neighborhood, you're going to make friends with a black person, enemies, an associate, or you may marry a person. If you're a black person that grew up in the Hamptons, you're going to have white friends, enemies, white associates, and you most likely might fall in love with a white person. It's your demographics. There's no such thing as black on black crime. If that's what we're going to go on, then there's Italian on Italian crime, but y'all celebritize it and call it the mafia. You can go to Mexico, they celebritize it and call it the Colombian cartel. We can go to white America, they celebritize it and just call it government and everything else they stole from everyone else. If we're going to go on that logic, it's not that it's black on black. It's the demographics and the economic downfall that took place in all of the metropolitan cities. We are not a lazy people. You do not have every city and every part of this country with Koreans and Arabs coming in, opening up corner stores, and you're going to convince me that every single solitary black person don't want to work, don't want to own a business, don't want to open a store. That's ridiculous. But they want us to feel that way. They want us to believe that. The number one, Hitler 101, make a lie, keep it simple, keep repeating it, and they'll believe it. And so you just hear black on black, black on black, black on black. Now when BLM comes around, Black Lives Matter, to bring a national spotlight on police brutality. Well, what about, does Black Lives Matter care about black on black crime? Like, number one, about that, it was about police. Number two, yes, we do care. We already have to look over our shoulders for gangs and for regular criminals. We shouldn't have to look over our shoulder for cops. They're supposed to be the buffer between us and between the criminals and our safety, all of that. Though it's talking points like that gets into us subconsciously, and we tend to believe it because we hear it so much, and a lot of people are afraid to challenge it. So knowledge is power, something that could unite us. Again, I'm not going to overlook the power of prayer and the power of God. Until we can get whatever church is doing what they're supposed to do, we do what we're supposed to do in relationship to God ourselves, as well as God. Bring people in my life where we can start this over. Show me where to go where we can start this over. Allow God and the Holy Ghost to be God and the Holy Ghost. The devil don't even want that, and the powers to be don't want that. There is power in unity. There is power in prayer. There is power in faith. They know that, but they want us to. I've felt guilty of it. I fell short of. Right now, I'm going through some stuff where I'm questioning a lot of things. I lost my place of mental health for 7 years. I have a hard time keeping jobs and getting jobs. I graduated ECC, was on the dean's list twice, and still can't so much as get an interview. I've volunteered places. I've asked to work off the books or to volunteer. I'm trying, and I'm tired. I'm 52. I get tired. So it's like, how much more do I have to do? But for young people, just because it's happening to me doesn't mean it has to be your life. I'm still going to tell them God is still God. He's still God in my life. There's a lot of testimonies I can give even now, but I know He's there. And that's the hope that I have. And if it's anything we want to unify, at least put God in the midst of that and watch Him work.
Man, listen, I got to tell you, I'm so glad to be sitting in this room, because the discussion that y'all have generated has just been like, and look, I already got messages. It's been lit. It's been fiery. Your realness, Rachel, have made this conversation a conversation that many probably would love to have. I know they can feel you on it, because your story is the story of many. Your story is the story that all of us have had to deal with at some time. So again, I want to thank you. This is Rachel Mann, emerging leader, not shy. And as she said, heavy volunteer, dutiful worker. She's tired, but she's still continuing on. I can hear the old folks say, don't you get weary. You just keep on pressing on. And that's what we all do. I want to go back to something that Jomo mentioned to us, and that's about the souls to the polls caravan that will be leaving. It's a motorcade. It'll be on Sunday. That's October 27th. And it'll start right here, right at the Colored Musicians Club in WUF's radio station. Right here, we're going to be lining up at 1:00, and we're going to leave at 1:30, going to a already authorized, or I should say, participating polling place where we can go and vote early. I mean, this is what we want you to all do. Listen, don't wait till the last day. Get it done now. Treat yourself to getting out of the line and leading the line. You should, when early voting opens up, if you're not there on the 26th already, be there on the 27th, because we need to get it done. And I can tell you, Saturday is Dullivan Grider's sold to the poll. The Challenger will probably have some details in it. I don't have the detail. So we got 2 dates of souls to the poll. We got the day when the polls open, which is the 26th. That's Saturday the 26th, caravan leaving from Dullivan Grider. And then on the 27th, right after church, y'all. And right here at the radio station at 1 o'clock, the motorcade will be leaving, and you need to be in one or the other. And then after you've been in one, and if you in the second one, look, either one you in, bring somebody with you. Tell them, come on, let's fill up the car. You know how you do when you go somewhere good. You get everybody in the car and ride. Fill up the car. Don't come down riding one person in the car. Fill the car up. At least 5 people in your car. Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. Help somebody. It'll be a good day. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I want to give the mics back over to my co-host.
But you could say one thing. Yeah, go ahead.
And I want to give it. I see Latasha making me laugh. She can. Anyway, I want to give it back over to Rachel. And then he had some.
He said we're done.
Oh.
The time is wrong.
Time is time. See, I'm looking at this clock. This clock, like I'm thinking, oh man, I got a whole bunch of time. I done went over time. So look what you done, Rachel. You got me in the going over time. Thank y'all for listening. Hey, thank King Shad for holding it down, being so kind. Let me slide in. I'm sorry, Sheila. Anyway, we out of here. No wonder Latasha and Matt laughing at me. Oh wow.